So I've got another nice little Windows phone in front of me. This time it's the Lumia 625 from Nokia, which promises to give you a decent 4G experience for not too much money. I think you can get one now for about 140 quid unlocked. And I have to say, upon my first impressions of the device, I'm quite pleased with what you're getting for that particular price point. You're getting quite a large 4.7-inch screen. I think it's 4.7 inches. Yeah, 4.7 inches IPS LCD. And you're also getting 4G, which is nice, as well as the latest Windows Phone 8.1. Which comes with all the nice stuff such as a notification center and now Cortana as well, which seems to be on the device, but strangely enough it's not on the Lumia 930 yet on the stock kind of official software. You can get it through the developer preview, but they don't seem to have pushed it down yet on the official software, so hopefully that should come through soon. But I have to say, as I said, for the price, I think that you're getting quite a lot of phone for your money. But I think that as you use a device more and more, you do see where certain corners have been cut to keep the price down. In terms of the actual build quality, it feels quite plasticky, but you're not really going to be expecting much for this type of price anyway. It is primarily made out of plastic, similar to the Lumia 1320. You got a 5 megapixel camera on the back, which supports autofocus and flash, single LED flash there. Small little speaker on the back as well, and USB port at the bottom. You got a headphone jack at the top. Nice place for the power button, the volume rocker button, and the physical camera shutter button. Also the capacitive buttons remain on this device. As you've seen on the 630, they've moved away from that and put them on the screen. But I am quite impressed at how thin the bezels are on this device. It really does seem to maximize the screen real estate. It's quite similar actually in terms of size to my Moto X. As you can see, they're both 4.7 inches. Moto X is slightly more compact, but obviously it's a more expensive device, so you would expect a bit better build quality. But in general, it's a pleasant feel in the hand. You can get your thumb around it all. It's not too heavy or anything. It does have quite a decent profile to it. It feels quite solid as well, although this back is removable, and I have found that it does tend to slip now and again. It seems to slip off by itself. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's just mine, but something to bear in mind. You can actually take it off, which will reveal the SIM area. I think it's there we go. So you got a SIM slot there for micro SIM, as well as your micro SD expandability. I think it supports up to about 32 gigs SD cards. So in fact it's 64 gigs, so that certainly helps with the internal storage, which is only 8 gigs unfortunately. But the battery is quite big in this as well. It's got quite a hefty capacity to it. I forget what the exact amount is. I think it's about 2000 mAh, but it's a quite a decent sized battery. It doesn't actually say on the back, unfortunately. But if you do get the back dirty, I guess it's nice the way you can swap it out quite quickly for a replacement one, because it does cover the whole device. but just be aware that it can sometimes not stay on, which is a bit weird. But yeah, so as I said, the display is 4.7 inches. It's a IPS LCD. Unfortunately, it does come with one of the lowest resolutions released on modern smartphones. It's got about 199 ppi, and you can really make out, the lack of pixels when you're web browsing and doing other stuff. It certainly looks very blurry. I don't know if you can see that when you're not zoomed in, which is a bit of a shame. If Motorola can put a half decent display in a device which is budget, then I think Nokia should be able to as well. It's not so much of an issue when you do zoom in. Zooming in, you can definitely make out the text. It does appear quite decently when you are zoomed in, but yeah, for people who want to just quickly do some web browsing, it can be a bit annoying, to say the least. But other than that, the actual viewing angles are quite decent. I have, as you can see, put a white background for my theme on this phone because unfortunately the blacks do look a bit washed out. I can quickly show you that. I rarely use white background with Windows phones, but with this particular device I think that it just looks a little bit better because, as you can see, here's the black border and here's the black screen, and it almost looks very grey, kind of like the Lumia 610. I'm not really a fan of that coming from, very deep black like screens, like AMOLED screens on the Moto X. I can certainly, notice it. But maybe, it wouldn't annoy you because not everyone is, big on their screen technology. But for me, I prefer to keep this on the white background because it does make it look a little bit more appealing to the eye. But the screen's decent, and the fact that it's got quite a big battery in there means you can bump up the brightness quite a lot. It's quite visible in terms of outdoor viewing as well because it is an IPS LCD. I do think that Nokia could improve on the screen technology on its budget end models a bit. I think that they are kind of sacrificing a bit there, but it does the job, and I think most people will be okay with it. In terms of the actual specifications, this is definitely an area where Nokia have kind of, scaled back the hardware in terms of getting it under the price point of 140. It only comes with a dual-core Snapdragon S4 processor, so not even a Snapdragon 400 or 200. This is an S4 processor, which is getting quite old now, quite antiquated, and it comes with 512 gigs of RAM. So obviously some more demanding games or apps may need a bit more RAM to use, and it's quite a shame that Nokia couldn't put a 1 gig RAM Snapdragon 400 configuration in like the 630. Granted, the 630 is a newer device, but I think that the 625 is quite a recent device and could have taken advantage of, the more modern processors coming out. But in terms of the actual fluidity of the device, you can definitely notice some lag when, for example, web browsing. I like to use Daily Mail as a reference point when web browsing because it's quite a contentful website, and if a phone can handle Daily Mail, then it can pretty much handle anything. So it takes quite a while to load the page, as you can see. This is connected to my Wi-Fi, which admittedly isn't the fastest Wi-Fi in the world, but other phones can load it quite quickly. And if you just click on something, so as you can see, not the most responsive of devices at all. I think this is probably the very bare minimum of what Windows Phone 8.1 can run on. As you could see, there was noticeable lag there, going back to the home screen. If you start really hammering it, then it should probably grind it to a halt as well. But as you can see, it does, at the same time, it still seems to manage things quite well, even though it is running on quite limited hardware. I think that Android would completely struggle doing these sorts of things. On this sort of hardware. I think for most people, it won't be too much of a issue really. You should be able to do most stuff without too many problems. Try what's it called? Maps. So that's quite fluid actually. Quite surprised about that. I was expecting the maps to be a bit more laggy. But very good performance here for the maps. I think that Nokia do very well with its maps application, and I think that's why they're actually bringing it out on Samsung devices now. Don't know if you've heard in the news. I'm not sure why Nokia would do that, because it is a key selling point of the Windows Phone operating system. But that's what they do. That is what they're actually trying to do now. Put the app on the Android ecosystem. So don't expect a very fast experience on this device in terms of the hardware configuration, but it does get the job done overall. And you do get hidden benefits from having such quite a low hardware spec, in that you do get big benefits when it comes to the battery life. And the battery life on this device is among the best that I've seen on Windows Phone. It's obviously not going to be as good as kind of like your phablets, like the Lumia 1520 and 1320, but it's I've basically just left it on standby overnight, like just connected to Wi-Fi with auto syncing on, etc. And I think it lost like 1%, which is absolutely fantastic. Even my Moto X would lose about 5% or so overnight. In terms of the actual runtime when you're actually using the device, again, that's fantastic. I was downloading a whole load of apps, etc. For about an hour or so, and it only lost about 3-4%. So battery life on this device is absolutely fantastic. If you need a phone which is budget and will easily get you through the day, then this is the phone to get. And as I said, that low pixel density of 199 ppi, coupled with quite a decent battery capacity, as well as some modes you can get in there, such as battery saver. You can easily go on for ages without worrying about the battery. You can put on battery saver if you want, which will help it even more, but it is quite a basic battery saver app. Nothing like Sony's stamina mode or the ultra power saving mode on the Galaxy S5. But yeah, battery life is definitely a strong point of this device. You know, it's to me it just seems really annoying though the way Nokia can do an excellent battery life for its budget phone, but when it comes to kind of like the more mid-range phones, such as the which mid-range phones have recently come out. In fact, I shouldn't really be comparing the 625 to the 920 and the 925 because those ones are older phones at the end of the day. But what I'm trying to say is that I wish that Nokia would be able to combine an excellent camera with a decent battery life for its smaller handsets. It seems you're either getting really good battery life or a really good camera, but not both, unless you buy obviously a 1520 or a 930. But then again, these are very expensive devices. Not everyone has like £500 to spend on a device. But in regards to that camera, as I said, it is a 5 megapixel camera which supports autofocus and flash, something you obviously don't get with the Moto E. You do get it with the Moto G though, which is kind of like a competing device. And I have to say that the camera experience on the device is decent. It's nowhere near, obviously, you know, the flagship Nokia models, such as the PureView 8.7 sensor in the 920 925, or the 20 megapixel one in the 1520 and the 930. And let's not even go near the 1020. You know, it's completely different category. But I think for most people just doing a bit of photography and then sharing the pictures on social networking, it should be relatively fine. It's quite quick to focus and take the shot. The physical shutter button is quite nice and clicky compared to the Z1 Compact, which is quite difficult to press down. I really like the way Nokia do make quite nice physical shutter buttons. I think other manufacturers should definitely make sure that they're putting shutter buttons on their camera phones as well. You can change some of the photo settings, such as the aspect ratio, exposure value, ISO, etc. As you can see, I am using the Windows Phone camera app there, but you can use the Nokia camera as well, which allows you to download different lenses. So you can edit your pictures and refocus them, etc. So it's relatively easy to do. You can put Bing Vision on as well to scan different things to see what they are. Yeah, there you go. All sorts of settings on the standard Nokia camera. I really miss these settings actually when I'm looking at, for example, my Moto X or Moto G. It's like I really would like Motorola to start putting some of these settings into its devices, because it does allow you to really you know, customize things, which is really nice. I do like the circular type of widget that comes on as well with its clicky effects. Video recording is present on the device as well. I clicked the wrong thing then. try that again. So it shoots in full HD, which is nice, and you can choose lower HD as well if you want, and you get to change the audio bass filter as well, so that would filter out engine noise if you wanted to, which is quite nice. In terms of the actual results of the pictures and the video recording, I'd put them on par with the Lumia 1320. In fact, the actual camera looks quite a bit like the 1320 in that it's quite a basic sensor. So pictures in general tend to look, for example, a lot better than the Moto E, but not much better than competing devices such as a Moto G, etc. It's not really much of a camera phone, but it will get the job done for a basic snap or two. And it is nice that you do get autofocus and the flash, obviously, for when you're in darker environments. But aside from the camera, you do get a front-facing camera as well, which is I think quite a basic one. I think it's 0.3 megapixel with VGA, so definitely not. It's VGA video capture, and it's not going to be something you use for professional selfies. It does support geotagging, image stabilization as well, so I'm talking about the back camera here. I don't want to sell Nokia short, so they have put some quite nice stuff into the camera. Aside from the camera then, in terms of the other connectivity options, you do get the latest Bluetooth 4.0, which is nice. You get GPS, GLONASS, something called SA GPS as well. I'm not sure what that is. Let me just double check. Selective Availability GPS. So not heard of that one before, but this has it, which is nice. It has gyroscope, magnetometer, proximity sensor, 3D accelerometer as well, so that's nice. The graphics is powered by Qualcomm Adreno 305, so that should be able to handle most of your basic Windows Phone games. Yes, obviously I've mentioned that it supports 4G LTE, which is also a nice addition, because I don't think phones should really be brought out nowadays without 4G LTE. After all, some countries are moving on to 5G now. So you get Windows Phone 8.1, as I've said, and you probably know the score now in regards to Windows Phone 8.1. If you're into the Windows Phone operating system, then you pretty much know what you're getting. If you're coming from like iOS or Android, you may find certain things missing from the Windows Phone store, but the list of quality apps are growing every year, and as you can see, I've downloaded a few of them here. I was quite surprised to see that on the Windows Phone store you can now get a really good BitTorrent app as well, for all your legal downloading, such as journals and articles. So it's definitely getting there in terms of the ecosystem. You get a YouTube. There's quite a lot of different YouTube apps actually, but this is, I think, my favorite one, which looks a bit like the Android alternative, but it's not obviously quite up there yet. You get Cortana as well, which I've not really had much of a play with, if I'm to be honest, because it's only recently come out in the UK, but we can see how it goes. Yes, sounds great. So I think that this is where it's profiling how you live in order to better suit you. When do you think about food? What's most delicious, obviously. What are your main motivations? Seeking adventure. Science. What's the time? Oh. What's the time? Didn't tell me the time. I don't want to be shown the time, I want to be told the time. What's the weather?
Right now, it's 22 and partly cloudy.
That's good. What is HTC's stock price?
HTC closed up 1.48% on Friday at 137.50.
Very good. Actually tells me the information instead of just showing it. How do I get to Birmingham?
All right, getting you directions to Birmingham.
So that looks like it fires up the navigation, which is good. That's what we like to see. Instead of it just giving me a map or something. Set calendar appointment.
All right, when is your event?
Tomorrow,
Sure, what time does it begin?
5 o'clock.
All right, what do you want to call it?
Swimming.
Certainly, I can add swimming to your calendar for tomorrow at 5 p.m. Is that right?
Yes.
I have added it.
That's very good, isn't it? So I'm quite impressed with that. It seems to be a big improvement over the last voice recognition type of system that Windows Phone relied on. But I think that it's still got quite a bit to go before it can match my Moto X, which can have the screen off, and I can say anything I want and it will fire up. But it's certainly getting there. Yeah, in regards to the software, I think it's very exciting new platform, particularly if you're an Android fanboy. But you might find that certain things are missing, or some of the apps aren't as mature as the Android equivalents. But at the end of the day, most people do have computers at work, so I don't see why you have to do everything from your phone right now. But I think that Windows Phone 8.1 certainly enhances the experience of the actual phone itself, and it's quite a nice little environment. In terms of that little speaker on the bottom, at the back should I say, I'm not expecting too much from it, but we can give it a try to see how it goes. So not too bad, really. Can't complain with that. It sounds quite loud and quite bassy. Obviously not up there with my Motorola X, but that does have an unnaturally loud speaker. And nowhere near the HTC One line of phones, but I think that it's quite a bit better than some of the Sony handsets that I've been reviewing lately, particularly the Z1 Compact. So you should be able to hear it when you just want to use a speaker, which is good. Through the headphones as well, you know, it sounds good, and you do get the ability to put on some audio enhancements. When it eventually lets me get there. You see, I always seem to get lost around here. I don't think you set them actually from the app, because it would try and make you upgrade your service, but I think you can set it somewhere in the settings. There we go. So you do get the full featured equalizer, but you'll need to use the earphones or headphones to use it. It also comes with the Dolby enhancements as well, which is nice. So it should be able to do a good job of your music collection. Also worthwhile noting is that unfortunately the device doesn't support double tap as well. I don't think it does anyway. Oh, in fact, yes it does. Sorry, I was getting confused. I thought that it didn't support it, but obviously it does. Yeah, I guess that was brought on by an update, and does it support it? See, I'll just put it on, but doesn't seem to want to come on. So it's definitely on there. Try it again. There we go. So it does support it. We got there eventually. Yeah, you know, overall I think that this is a decent phone. I still think that the Moto G would probably be a better option, putting aside platforms, because it does offer a more smoother experience, which is a bit nicer in terms of the transitions, as well as the pixel density of the screen is a lot higher, so things do look a bit smoother on the Moto G. But if you're not an Android person or someone who wants to avoid Google, then this is you know, a decent choice nevertheless. And it does come with a bigger screen obviously than the 630, and a better battery life than the 630 as well, in my opinion, even though the 630 does have a more efficient processor. If you're looking for a phone with a fantastic battery life, 4G, and big screen, then you know, this is definitely something that you should consider. And it is obviously expandable in terms of the storage as well, so you're not going to be crippled to the 8 gigs. Yeah, you know, overall I give it a thumbs up, but there are some areas to improve upon, such as the screen quality, as well as the performance. If you liked the video or you thought it was informative, then I hope you thumbs it up or subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.